If Caitlin Clark is the quote-unquote savior, if she's the golden girl, milk it.
Reality is knocking on the door of the porta potty. The truth is finally coming to the light. The same light that is going to be dimming here in about 12 hours when Caitlin Clark is eliminated from the playoffs. I know the mainstream media wants us to believe that the WNBA...
Was it possible to watch the WNBA playoffs without Caitlin Clark? Most likely not, given very few people did. We're discussing a sharp decline from 1.8 million viewers to just 161,000.
Ratings for Game 1 have got to be disappointing for Kat Engelbert and the WNBA front office. There were regular season games this season where Caitlin Clark drew more than 1.8 million viewers. However, I hope Kat Engelbert is ready for disappointment because there's a hell of a lot more of it on the way. There were 3 other games in the WNBA on Sunday night.
That's a nosedive, not just a dip. And now everyone is wondering if the WNBA is in real peril without its newest superstar because
Caitlin Clark is clearly a catalyst for a business that was, and let's be honest, Caitlin to some degree financially saved the WNBA. It was hemorrhaging money for years. Some people get famous on art.
Let's take a moment to discuss Clark. She didn't simply appear, she altered the course of events.
From merchandising sales to new sponsorships to television ratings absolutely going through the roof to attendance to sellouts at basketball games to all-star games with record attendance both in person and on television. It is safe to say, North America, that the Caitlin Clark effect has taken over the WNBA at this point.
Without Clark, the WNBA would be facing empty seats and cringeworthy TV ratings. The Indiana Fever went from being a team that no one cared about to being a playoff contender, and it was all up to her. Can you imagine going from nobody to somebody that quickly?
WNBA ratings are embarrassing without Caitlin Clark. 0 games have sold out in the playoffs. Outside of Caitlin Clark, there was not a single game that eclipsed 500,000 viewers. Hell, they weren't even close to doing that. Once she is eliminated...
The question is the WNBA putting all its eggs in one basket? And what happens if that basket breaks? Stick around, because we're going to get into why this is so important for women's basketball. For example, remember how the Indiana Fever went from being just another team to being a playoff contender, and it's all because of one person.
This woman is box office, plus she can play, and the combination of the two would ultimately...
Here's the kicker, though. Caitlin Clark is rewriting the whole WNBA playbook in addition to altering her team.
Let's put this in its proper perspective. When I think about Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude.
How the stats reveal a narrative you won't anticipate.
Well, I'm just looking at some of the numbers here. When we talk about league attendance, the Indiana Fever, all right, with Caitlin Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road. Fever averaged 17,000.
When we discuss Clark's rookie season, we're talking about metrics that make basketball historians pay note, not just impressive stats.
We see that. We see the capability on the basketball court. She can shoot, she can handle, she certainly can pass, okay? I look at it from that standpoint and I say mad respect. Are there other players in the WNBA that...
Clark became the first rookie in WNBA history to score at least 25 points, pull down 5 rebounds, and give out 5 assists during her playoff debut. Not only are records being broken, but new standards of brilliance are being established.
Because at the end of the day, with her WNBA rookie season complete, let's see it. Most points by a point guard in a season in WNBA history. Most double-doubles by a rookie guard in WNBA history. Most points by a rookie in WNBA history. Most assists by a rookie in the history of the WNBA. First WNBA rookie to record 2 triple-doubles. First triple-double by a rookie in WNBA history.
Clark averaged 18 points, 5 rebounds, 8.5 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block per game during the playoff series. You know who else has scored that much in the playoffs? No player in WNBA history has ever matched this stat line. Now that we're in Michael Jordan territory, you may be wondering, wow, those are some impressive stats, but what does this mean for the league? Well, let me give you an idea.
Career 10 or more assists in a game. How about that franchise record for most career 10 or more assists in a game? Fastest WNBA player to reach 100 three-pointers. She did it in 34 games. Most assists by a rookie in a WNBA All-Star game, for which she received the most fan votes ever. 700,000 of those. Fastest player to reach 350 points and 150 assists to start a season, regardless of years in the league. That's not a rookie record. That's just a record for anybody.
You would have forgotten the Indiana Fever were in the league before to Clark, but now they have to watch TV.
And the attention that she brought to a women's league and a women's side, if you will, of the sport is just, I think, hopefully going to have a residual effect for years to come.
Yeah, I think it can't be overstated enough, like what she did to bring eyes to that sport. Whether people want to admit it or not, it's just a fact.
Clark did more than just make the squad better. She made them into contenders in an instant.
Just looking at some of the numbers here. When we talk about league attendance, the Indiana Fever, all right, with Caitlin Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road. Fever averaged 17,000.
However, it goes beyond what occurs on the court. The influence of Clark extends far beyond hardwood floors.
Has trickled up to the WNBA this season as the league has seen unprecedented growth thanks to the emergence of a strong rookie class headlined by #1 overall pick Caitlin Clark. So WNBA released a report recently. Numbers are beyond impressive. Attendance is up 156% from last year, and more than half of all WNBA games this year have been sellouts. This year's televised games are averaging 1.32 million viewers, nearly triple last season's average of 462,000. Continuing, the WNBA's online merchandise store has already set a single-season sales record with more than 4 months left in the season, and sales are up 756%.
You guessed it. Record numbers of people are turning in to watch WNBA games. Who are they watching? Caitlin Clark.
The WNBA has seen record-breaking numbers this season in viewership, ticket sales, merch sales, and just overall growth of the league.
Now that she is the face of women's basketball, she is more than simply a player. When was the last time you saw a WNBA player generate this much buzz? Clark is drawing in individuals who have never seen a women's game in their lives in addition to basketball fanatics.
So if we look at this chart for the 2024 season, the Indiana Fever are pretty much blowing out every other team. They are averaging almost 16,000 per 39 games. So this is taking into consideration not only the Indiana Fever home games, but also when they are on the...
She is giving the WNBA a newfound relevance, but this is where things become complicated. Since Clark has grown so quickly, it seems like the entire league is depending on her, which leads us to the crucial question. Is this good for the WNBA? You know the saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket, but the WNBA learned that lesson the hard way when Clark was eliminated from the playoffs. The league is now facing a reality check that has everyone wondering if they just blew their golden ticket, and let me tell you, this goes much more than simply losing a top player.
It's Caitlin Clark, we all know that. They are now seeing that the Clark effect is living up to the hype.
Caitlin Clark. From a draft party.
Yeah, baby,
where nearly 6,000 people attended.
Look at the crowd here. You can see where she ranks on anticipation. This is amazing to have. I was here for the draft party a few years ago, and it was nothing compared to what it is now. This is amazing.
To the team store, where gear is flying off the shelf.
Let's take a moment to discuss numbers. Yes, the crowded arenas during Clark's games are no longer the norm. Instead, half of the seats are empty for playoff games.
Is going to get a rude awakening because 2 million, that click, 2 million of their fans just turned the TV back to the NFL.
Can you picture entering an arena that should be teeming with playoff excitement only to find it feels more like a ghost town? That's the new reality of the NBA, but this is where things become really ugly. The WNBA is losing revenue in addition to fans in the stands.
The most dominant team in the league, they can't draw 500,000 viewers for a playoff game. Atlanta Dreamers and the New York Liberals. Again, the Liberals. They supposedly have stars. Remember when ESPN claimed that the Liberals had the new Big Three? Dreamers, Liberals. 410,000 viewers. The other game was the Phoenix Masculines and the Minnesota Lakers.
While the NBA earns nearly $7 billion from TV deals alone, the WNBA receives $200 million annually from the NBA to keep it viable. This isn't just a disparity, it's a Grand Canyon-sized abyss. And I'm not talking about pocket change here.
They should be getting the attention. Now they have center stage, but the ratings are going to go down. How far, though? That's the key.
Now, you may be thinking, well, they must have a plan to fix this. Hold on to your hats, because this is where things get crazy. The NBA's marketing strategy, or lack thereof, has everyone baffled. Even worse, they haven't produced a single advertisement with Caitlin Clark.
2024, the WNBA is estimated to bring in $200 million in revenue. Just for comparison, the NBA is expected to earn $13 billion. The WNBA has historically lost around $10 million per season.
Not only that, but the league's entire strategy for promoting its stars is under fire. One analyst bluntly stated that without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA is nothing more than a polished turd. Ouch. This is not just harsh, it's a wake-up call. The league has been riding high on Clark's stardom but forgot to build a safety net. What does all of this mean for the future of women's basketball? We're not just talking about a bad season here. This could be a turning point for the league as a whole.
Kelsey Mitchell on here instead of Caitlin Clark? The face of your entire league. You left off this promotional graphic. Again, Kelsey Mitchell.
The WNBA is losing viewers more quickly than a leaking faucet without Clark in the playoffs, and in a world where attention is money, that's a death sentence.
But the ratings are going to go down. How far, though? That's the key. And are they going to be pointing fingers and blaming Indiana Fever fans and Caitlin Clark fans whenever the ratings don't stay the same?
The WNBA had a fantastic opportunity with Clark, though, and they could have used her celebrity to elevate other players and develop compelling narratives that would have kept fans interested even when she wasn't playing. Instead, they bet everything on one player, and now they're paying the price.
The attendance numbers in New York and Las Vegas last night, they were the same as Sunday night. There has yet to be a sellout in the WNBA playoffs. They couldn't even sell out the 9,000-seat Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut for the playoff debut of Katie Rue. It was the closest they came to a sellout, but it still wasn't sold out.
Now that the WNBA is having problems, you may be wondering what comes next. Well, get ready because the answers may surprise you. We're not just talking about a band-aid solution, though. We're talking about a total makeover that might alter the game forever. Let's start by talking about marketing. It's time to spread the love, even though the WNBA has been riding the Caitlin Clark wave.
She just knows that there were people on the ground pounding the pavement that were doing so much for women's basketball everywhere that deserve their praise.
Imagine a league in which each player has a distinct backstory and following. Our goal is to make every game seem essential by establishing rivalries that spark conversation even when the big players aren't participating. Observe the event. Let's now discuss the players. Waiting for the next Caitlin Clark to land in their laps is not an option for the WNBA.
I feel like she's coming in, and from a marketing standpoint, yes, have eyes on her, but don't put all your eggs in one basket. Because at the end of the day, we can't predict the future wire. We just can't.
They must be out there finding talent, honing their craft, and producing the next wave of superstars. Imagine playing in a league where each team has a player that inspires you. Whoa, what I just witnessed is unbelievable.
This is why the league has to expand their vision, because you're going to get a lot of new fans that's coming.
Here's the kicker, though. The WNBA must develop storylines that go beyond a single game or season if it hopes to keep fans interested. We're talking about developing team identities, igniting fierce rivalries, and providing fans with something to cheer for even on their favorite players' bad nights. And let's not forget about the money. The WNBA must seriously consider diversifying its revenue sources. It cannot merely rely on ticket sales and TV deals.
But if you're not delivering the product and you're not making the revenue and you're not, giving people the entertainment that they want, then you're not going to make any money and your league is going to suck.
What about products? What about collaborations with other companies? The WNBA must begin investigating the plethora of opportunities that exist in the world. Let's sum up by saying that the WNBA has invested much in Caitlin Clark and is now paying the price in the form of empty seats, declining viewership, and a league that is still trying to survive. The WNBA needs to make a change.
The league has to be ready with its infrastructure. The league has to be ready with its tech. The league has to be ready with its vision. Think bigger.
Yes.
I'm saying think bigger, Tarika, because something.
Create more stars. They must use innovative marketing techniques to establish rivalries and turn every game into an occasion rather than waiting for the next Clark to arrive. Enhance the face-to-face interaction and discover fresh revenue streams.
I mean, Caitlin, I just say put more marketing dollars and push behind some of the great players in the WNBA so that you can sustain this, and all of the focus, if you're saying Caitlin, and as Caitlin game is not where you thought it was going to be, you still have all these great players that you can push more. That's what I say.
This is the actual query. Will women's professional basketball come to an end soon, or can the WNBA continue to exist without depending on a single superstar? What are your thoughts? Post your thoughts in the comments section and let us know how you intend to save the WNBA.